Hello, hello. Good evening to everyone. Happy to see you here. If you have just connected, please, you can just tell us that you are here. Just tell us your name, where you are joining from. So today we are going to talk about three principles to absolutely know and implement to boost your career and of course to make more money. So we're expecting a couple of people. So I hope you're all joining. It's time to join. It's time to really have this moment together to share something very interesting and very important for your career. So if you are here, let me check who is here. You can just comment, put in the comments that you are here. Just mention that you're around, where you're joining from, and then let's start. I must say that this is a webinar that I run a week before. I run it in French, and now this is the moment to run it in English. Hello, Ismail. It's coming from Cote d'Ivoire and joining us. Thank you to be around. He's following from YouTube. If you are around, following from LinkedIn, following from Facebook, you can just mention. No need to mention the platform you are following from because I'm actually able to check which platforms you are connecting from. It's being broadcast on 8 different channels. So if you're around, just mention you're around. We are going to talk about an exciting theme today. So I'm giving time for people to join, and then we're going to start. Going to talk about three principles to absolutely know and implement or apply to boost your career and make more money. So thank you, Ismail, to have mentioned you're around. Who else is around? We want to know, we want to welcome you, we want to say hi. Hi, Hasia, always around from Abidjan, also Cote d'Ivoire. Who else is here? Are you joining so that we can start? Also, in the meantime, those that have already joined, it's very interesting if you can also share with some friends, some peers, some colleagues that you think might be in need of actually some career boost or to change anything in their lives. I think this is a good opportunity for them also to learn from this workshop. Would you kindly share the links? Allow me to just again paste the links here so that we can definitely have this great time together, right? So who else is around? I can see some people connected. You're not yet. Okay, Prosper. Hi, Prosper. How are you? Good to see you around. Okay. Other people are joining, so we start shortly. We have from people following from LinkedIn, over following from Facebook, from YouTube. Actually, 8 different channels are being activated for this one. So you might not see everyone from where you are. We have Marem Gay Magane from Senegal. We have Vincent from Abidjan. And I'm sharing the link so that eventually you can share with other people if they want to join, so that we can talk about these three key principles that will help people actually to boost their career. I can see a lot of French speakers that have preferred to do the English webinar. Very interesting. It's good that you are challenging your English. Very interesting. And with a couple of English natives and speakers that are also joining. Very interesting. Last week was in French, so actually the intent is to do a week before the same session in French and the following to do it in English so that it can cover many more needs. Thank you, Prosper, to be around. Thank you, Vincent, to be around. Thank you, Marem. Who else do we have? Please, it's important that you tell us that you're around so that we can greet you, we can welcome you, and then we will start. It's on my watch is actually currently like it's 9 past 7. We start shortly, actually in less than a minute, but it's good. I'll share the link so that if you think it's good to invite other people, you can also invite them to join. Hi, Mariam from Senegal. Good to see you around. Who is joining? Who is around so that we can welcome and greet you. Allow me also to share with my network that this is happening. It's very interesting. Happy to see you around. From the different channels, I might not see everyone connected. So in any case, if there are questions that are missing, I'll give you my WhatsApp number so that you can write to me. Eventually, if you have a question, because it's being broadcast on 8 channels, And from 8 channels, I might not be able to see all the questions. It's true that the tool is helping me to see much of the questions, much of the interventions, but I'm not sure I'll be able to catch everything. Last time I missed a couple of questions and comments. But if you are, it's better if you can, I mean, those that are connected, if you can come to the LinkedIn link, it's better, it's far better. But if you are comfortable on LinkedIn, on YouTube or Facebook, then it's fine. We're going to talk about these principles. We're going to start in 1 minute time. I'll share the link so that you can eventually share with some people you love and you think that they can have good benefit from this moment that we are going to share. So yes, 3 principles. I'm going to disclose them in the following minutes, so that we'll go to them. Just allow me also to share on my page that we have started, and we want other people to join so we can enjoy together this session about the principles. I'm putting the title again on the screen. 3 principles to absolutely know, implement to boost your career and make more money. So this is a theme that was dealt with last week in French. Today is the English part, made to have more accesses for people that might be in need. And I know some people might definitely be in need of it. Okay, I can see a couple of people that are connected. Allow me to mute so that I don't. Okay, good. So we are going to start. It's time to start. I can see some people are connected on LinkedIn, others on YouTube, and the last group on Facebook. Yes, so let me share myself. It's here. Okay. Okay, so let's start. So I want to know amongst those that are here, who was there last week with us on the same theme? Who was there last week? You can just mention in the chat box. If you were there with us last week, you can mention in the chat box, and then we are going to take it from there. Who was there last week? You can just mention, and we'll be appreciating you. Because I know some people did the French version, but they still want also to maybe get something from the English versions. Okay, I'm seeing comments coming in. I can see comments coming in. Good. Okay, so yes, I have Charles that was in and out. Okay, last week, that is still here around. Thank you, Charles, my brother. Good to see you around. Okay, so we talk about these principles. I know some people are really expecting it. I think to talk about this principle, I want to start by talking about my career, because I think from the career, then you can understand some of the principles that I'm going to deal with during all this discussion. Let me start from the bottom, and then we'll go to the up, actually in my career. I must say that I started as a research coordinator, doing a lot of market researches, or let me say a couple of market researches for some well-established companies like Unilever and MTN and some insurance companies. It was actually when I was a student and completing my master degree. We had this, we're calling it junior enterprise. That's the kind of businesses that students run when they are completing their classes, and gave me the opportunity actually to work on serious cases, which really helped me to have a solid experience in market research. Moving from that, if you look at the years, I moved from that to a position of key account executive, actually working around sales for a security company, where I spent like a year. And then from that, I moved to Nestle, that was in Côte d'Ivoire, where I was based. I was doing brand management, and actually more than this, because I started as what they were calling brand management training. That was a very interesting brand management training. Actually, was a program that was meant to build the future leaders of Nestle. So we're doing in the beginning like more than just marketing and sales. So I had some experience in sales, in marketing, in customer services, in procurement, in planning, in let me say in production. Also, very interesting experience in which we had to go from really the bottom of every function to the top function, and that was very interesting. What I mean by that is that when I was doing, for example, when I was in the sales department, I was actually selling in the market. From the market, then I found myself selling using bikes, and from bikes selling using, I mean, through vans, and then later on selling with the managers and all that till the sales director, working with them closely with clear objectives and clear plans. That was very interesting. And then from that experience, there was a following move, very interesting move, I must say, in terms of working on one of the top brands of Nestle, that was Maggi. I spent almost or like a little more than a year on this as a brand manager assistant. Very interesting. And then had the opportunity to join Unilever. So in Unilever, I worked as I started as brand manager, but quickly was promoted as category manager, working on oral care. Oral care, get through these the brands around like everything oral care, like toothpaste, toothbrushes, and then deodorant brands for Unilever. The deodorant brands of Unilever are quite famous. This is Axe or X, depending on where you are and how you spell it, like AXE. That's Broods, that's Rexona. I think that you generally know these brands. And then from there, I had to move to Heineken. I had the opportunity to join Heineken. Heineken is the brewery that was settling in Côte d'Ivoire against a competitor that was like 97% of market shares. And that has been a great experience actually to join them as a marketing manager to help them for the settlement in Côte d'Ivoire. And that has been a great experience that actually helped me to really strengthen my marketing skills and capabilities. And then from that, I moved again to EDF, that's Zola. EDF is Électricité de France. If you know, it's a power supply company for, let me say, for France, to some extent for Europe, but that is also having operations in Africa. And I had the opportunity to join in 2018 as head of marketing. Then again, I went back to Nestle as a regional marketing manager, again on the culinary, that's Maggi, based in Accra in Ghana, where I spent 3 years. And then from that, I've moved to GB Foods, where I'm currently sitting and where I'm working as a marketing director for West Africa. So today I'm actually sharing a lot of knowledge, a lot of, let me say, a lot of passion about people development. I really give some lectures, conferences, seminars, webinars about personal development, leadership, performance, marketing, sales, digital and communication. And I have this experience that I'm sharing with people to help them actually to be more and more sharp into the jobs. So we're going to get deeper in what we want to discuss today. The purpose for me to talk about my career is not just for you to get to know me more. It's really basically for you to understand some of the principles. So I'm using my own path as an illustration of whatever I'm going to share in the following minutes with you. So I'm still greeting the people that are joining. I'm seeing Theophilus that is here. It was actually one of my team members working with me. Hi, Theophilus. This is good to see you around. Again, also I'm seeing Alida, with whom I also worked at some point. Yes, if you're around, good to tell us that you're around so that we can actually engage together. So let's go into these 3 principles that we want to talk about that can definitely help you to have this boost in your career. They're very simple things that maybe you might know. So for some people, they might be just reminders. For other people in this call or in this webinar, there might be things that they are discovering. But as a whole, it's very and always important to have such sessions to give a boost to ourselves in whatever we are doing. So the three principles are the ones I'm just putting on the screen, but then we're going to details in each of them. So it's first to set your vision, then definitely not to compromise on discipline and excellence. We'll come to that, and to play the corporate game, which we are going to talk about. It's very important that you think about it. So, my guy, I'm seeing you here. Very interesting. Also, thank you to mention that you're around, and we are going to go deeply now in the topic. The first principle is to set the vision. It might be like so. It might look so straight, so simple, so let me say so obvious, but you'll be surprised the number of people that are not setting the vision. And I will tell you, I will start from my experience. I've showed to you like what has been my path, where I would say almost started, because there are things that I've not put in between, but I've just been on the key steps in my career. But the first thing is actually to define and write, sorry, your vision. Let's start by this. So I had the opportunity to be mentored by a great guy that I want to appreciate today. He's called Stefan Aka. He used to be the West Africa marketing director for Unilever, a great guy that actually helped me to frame my career. When I met this guy, I think it was in 2009, then I was thinking on having a serious marketing career, but then it was like something that wasn't clear for me. It was like, what should I do next? What should be my path? How should I define what I want to do? But in my heart, I was sure that I wanted to become at some point a very senior professional in marketing. And my goal was in some years, like I was giving myself some 10 years to become a marketing director. But then the point was, what was the path? Then I had the opportunity to define something with him. So he gave me what you have on screen. He was telling me, Wilfred, if you want to become a marketing director in like 10 years, this is a path that I'm recommending to you. So you have to spend like 3 years as a brand manager assistant, building your knowledge in let me say, the basic stuff of a brand manager. And then you take 4 years, the following 4 years actually, to work as a brand manager, to master. For him, it was a matter of mastering like what we call the 4 P's in marketing. For those that are not marketeers, when we talk about 4 P's, we're talking about product, we're talking about price, we're talking about place. Place is actually looking at whatever is distribution, ensuring that the product is on shelf or at the disposal of consumers or customers whenever they want it. And then the last P is actually the promotion. This is looking mainly at advertising, everything like digital marketing and so on. So it was like you need 4 years, because you take then every single year to master one of the P's, and then become like great in them. So by the time you master the 4 P's, you get ready actually to move to the next steps. And for him, depending on the groups or the companies where you're working, the following steps have been to be a group brand manager. And for him, that was like you spent like 3 years there. And then from there, if you are really good let me say, if you are great, you can definitely become a marketing director. So he gave me this challenge, like you have 10 years to become a marketing director. And we know, generally for those that are here, to become a director is not absolutely like that straight. It can take 20 years, 25 years. Some even get to this level at the end of their career. That's sometimes like 30 years of working or even more. And it was like, if you work well, like after 5 years, you can definitely get into a managing director, or like, I don't know how to call it, CEO or whatever, actually general management position, more or less. But then when he gave this to me, and we come back to this, I was like, fine, I have a path. I have to follow this path. But the first thing that I want to show to you, I mean, going from all these stories that I'm telling, is that your career can only boost if you start by this very first thing. First, you have to define where you want to get. And this is something that people don't do. or when they do, they don't write it. And the first thing that I want to share with you today is to define and to write it. And beyond writing it is really to set the path to get to it. Because this is really the first principle. It's really define, it's write it, and it's set the path to it. And then we'll come to this in the following minutes. So what people don't do is that they don't first, when they start their career, define where they want to be in 5, where they want to be in 10 years. So if I ask you the question now, you that are here connected with me, where do you want to be in 5 years? Is it something that's very clear in your mind? Is it something that's very clear in your spirit? Is it something that's very clear when you think about it? Where do you want to be? That's a question to you this evening. Do you have a clear vision of where you want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? If it's something you want to share with us, please feel free to write it in the chat box. Feel free to write it in the comments so that we can talk about it. Where do you want to be? And I'm expecting some answers. If you're around with me, if you are connected, and if you are following, where do you want to be in the next 5, in the next 10 years? Who first? Who is jumping first? Who is shooting first? Who is around that want to shoot first on this question? Let me check on the different platforms. It looks like I've scattered too much, like this meeting. So like there's people attending from many different locations. I have actually 8 channels broadcasting this at this moment. Okay, I'm following one. I'm seeing 19 people on one. This is on my personal LinkedIn. So the 19 people that are following, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Or where do you want to be in the next 10 years? Do you have a vision? I'm expecting some feedbacks, please. Anyone to write, anyone to share? Feel free to do. Because this is even to give yourself a challenge as we are talking in this discussion. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Who is around with me? Okay, I guess the comments are coming because I think there's a slight delay between the video as I'm speaking and as you are writing. We are going now for those that are sharing where they want to be in the next 5, in the next 10 years. I'm going to share with you a path. I'm going to share with you a tool that I've been using. You have seen my career, right? I've moved from research coordinator to sales, let me say sales executive, to next has been brand manager assistant, then moving to brand manager, and then marketing or category manager, moving to head of marketing, regional sales marketing on expatriation, and then later on marketing director. Now I'm actually marketing director for 14 countries sitting in Dakar. Okay, we have one friend sharing his vision. He wants to be in 5 years, he wants to be a marketing or sales director. This is a good ambition. So now let's go through it. How do you build this? Because sometimes you don't build. I'm going to share my screen on a tool that I'm personally using and that I'm sharing today for free that can really help you to change things around. And I call it, I have a funny name for it. It's beyond, actually today I'm sharing just the career part of this tool, but I'm calling it, if you see, I'm calling it, sorry, the personal life planning for everyone. I must say for those that are joining me that I used to give a lot of marketing lectures, classes, organizing a lot of live webinars and sessions about marketing, which I will continue for sure. If you are not following me, please follow me on my different platforms. I won't be only just doing French because I'm coming from a francophone background, but I will be also sharing content and useful tips and let me say information in English. So feel free to follow me. Oh, I'm seeing people sending the wish. Successful general manager for a big multinational in Africa, good one. And you'll get there. I'm sure you'll get there. And Prosper is saying, I want to be risk manager before 2025. Let's go for it, my friend. And we are going to reach that. So now let's look at the path to get there. So this is a simple path. I mean, you don't even need that I share my template with you, but I mean, the following weeks or days or so, I'm going to share for those that want to really have access to this template. But I'm going to share with you a template that I've been using since 2009. That's now like 14 years from now, and that has really helped me to get where I am. So basically, sorry if you see some French written in there. It's really because of my French background. I'm trying to manage between French and English in terms of documentation. But please be patient with me. But if you're not clear on something I'm sharing, please feel free to ask the question. So I have these templates where you can see year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Till I push this template a bit further to till 2060. So give me just a moment. I'll be plugging my charger. But in the time I'm plugging my charger, you can start thinking about the following. What's your goal in 2025? That's now 2 years from now. And then what's your goal in 2027? That's 4 years from now. Or you can update what's your goal in 2026? That's 3 years from now. And 2028, that's 5 years from now. And if you are 10 years, what's your goal in 2033? That's questions just for you to start. What are your goals? What do you want to reach? Have you dreamed, or are you dreaming about any position? Have you written it somewhere? That's the first question. So take just this these few seconds to think about it. Just letting you think. And those who want to write, feel free to write with us. 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what's your dream? Okay, I hope you are clear on your dream, right? So the first thing to do is to have something like what I have on screen. Is to have something, a template, a form, and a file, or whatever you call it, like somewhere where you write it. You have to write it down. You have to write it somewhere. You have to keep it somewhere. And this is very interesting. Thank you, Ismail, that's sharing with us what he's actually dreaming about. Ismail is saying, like, for the next 4 or 5 years, I want to become a marketing manager. Good to hear from you. So very good. Then you will let's take the example of Israel, and we will work from it. 5 years, so we're in 2023. I'll remove this and I will explain all this. That's for him. This is clearly 2028. Let's put this and we'll update what you want to do, right? You want to become a marketing, let's say marketing manager. Marketing manager. This is very interesting, but Ismail, where I want to stretch you is that don't define only where you want to be in 5 years. Go beyond. Then you have to define where you want to be in 10 years. That's 2030. Let's assume you want to become a managing director. Let's put it here for you, managing director. And I'm clearly reaching this to you, right? So for those that are joining, clearly welcome. We are talking about 3 principles to boost your career and to really help you to make more money, because this, at the end of the day, I believe this is why people are working. So Ismail, the first thing is really to define, as you've done, like 5 years, but to write it somewhere, to have a personal file, a personal template, or whatever, where you write it, where you keep it. And we are going to see the subsequent things that you are going to do. It might seem obvious, but I can challenge you. Check the numbers of people, check the number of people that are doing this. Very few people are doing. They just have a dream. But someone is saying, when you have a dream and you don't put a date, it just remains like a random dream. You have to put a date, then it becomes a goal. Because by the time you are setting goals for yourself, then you'll be able to put plans to reach the goals. And we are going step by step to this. It might seem obvious for some people, as I'm saying. If it's obvious for you, I'm happy. Stay with us till the end, where I'm going to share other things that might not be that obvious for you. But for those that are just with us now, please just be clear that where we are now is about designing our plans. For those that are here, who has ever written down his objective over the next 10 years? If you have already done it, or you have ever done it, you can write it somewhere in the chat box. If you have never done it, please write it in the chat box. I want some interaction, please. If you are here, just let me know that you are here. Have you ever written it? Have you ever written it down anywhere? Like, this is what I want, where I want to get in the next 5 years, where I want to get in the next 10 years. Have you ever written it somewhere? So we have Vincent that is saying he wants to be a national sales manager before 2025. Good to see, a good goal. And yes, you guys are in the 2025. I like it. Beyond 2025, I want some dreamers. 2030, 2033, 2035. Where are you guys? We have Jakite. In next 5 years, want to become a brand category manager. Interesting to share all this with us. Okay, so something that I want to bring to your attention. If you see, I was saying I'm calling this template personal life planning for everyone. Let me put it on full screen. This is a template that I share with some people that I'm coaching or mentoring, right? I'm coaching them, I'm mentoring them, and it's personal life. Today, I'm just sharing one section of it. In the following days, weeks, I'm going to share a lot of resources, and we'll come back to this again because I'm in the intent of helping you to go beyond just the professional part. I'm really that coach that will help you to achieve your personal goals. But today, let's focus on the professional one. Okay, good to hear, Theophilus. You have never written, then it's good to have it in mind, in head. But now let's start writing it. It's very important to write it, and I will tell you why. Whenever you write it, it's like when you're working for your company, you are always asked to write down your plans. And you know why? Because the plans or the plan at the end of the day is like a mirror, an eyes, where you just come and you look at your face to check is your face is looking like what you have defined. The importance to write it is for you to have a checkpoint where you can come at any time and say, where had I planned to be at this time? And have I reached these points? What have I done wrong not to reach the point? Or what have I done right? What should I accelerate? What should I stop? It's very important. So writing them is actually giving you the opportunity to do some checkpoints and to ensure that you're on path. And I will explain one part of my story. This is why it's very important to write. Write it. Myself, I'm using some Word documents and sometimes some Excel document to write the visions, and we'll go to the next step. Something that I want to share that's very interesting, maybe I will talk in dollars now, is that sometimes you define the next steps, but you don't define the salary that will go with the next steps. The challenge of this, or if you don't do this, is that when the opportunity appears, sometimes you receive an opportunity, but that is proposing you a salary that is less than what you think you deserve. And then this is when the challenge happens. You're like, I know I want this position, and the salary is not worth it, and I don't know what to do. There are some exceptions where sometimes you will need to do some sacrifice. But generally, and this is where I'm bringing you, is that as you define the next steps, if you check here, I've put clearly to define the monthly income you want for them. This is very important because it will help you first to like, I would say, accumulate whatever you need to be able to claim for this amount as a compensation, or let me say for this package as a compensation, but it will also help you actually to easily negotiate and feel comfortable when you're negotiating. Because some of the professionals are not feeling comfortable when it comes to discussing salary, right? When they are asked like, what's your salary expectation for the job? They are never sure of what they have to say because they have never planned it. And sometimes they just get the position they want, but with a compensation or a total package that they are not feeling proud of. and sometimes they just get bitter later in the following months because they feel that they have not done the right negotiation. But what you have to define is that you have to define the salary. For example, here for this marketing manager, we are putting $4,000, for example, as a monthly net wage that he would get. You have to define. For example, you put managing director. Let me be a bit more ambitious for this guy at $15,000 monthly, like a net. I mean, this one accepted, or I mean, aside every benefit that they can get. So it's very important. What we don't do sometimes is that we have plans, we can have them in head, in mind, but we have to define the income. It's very important because they go together. Now we explain some of the principles that coaches or whatever you call them, personal development gurus are talking about that really makes this one an important point. We have my good friend and brother saying he has never written it down as a comprehensive plan, but he has set alarm on his calendar for specific career goal, which is more or less the same, which is great. You can do that. The point is really to have some tools, some points that will send you the reminders or that will get you to go and check, like, where did I say I wanted to be and where am I today? And this is very important that you have this checkpoint. Can be in applications, in apps on your phones, in softwares, wherever. What I'm suggesting is really to have this written plan. But for what I'm putting on today is just go beyond the fact of writing down just the path to reach your vision, write also the compensation that you want to get there. It's very important. So now the principles behind are which one? By the time you write this, what you have to do is to review this very often. The frequency I'm recommending is like at least once every quarter. So like every 3 months, just sit down, take your vision board, take this plan, rate. I said I wanted to be at this point or at this position at this time. Am I on the way to it? Am I far from it? What should I change? What should I do? And then you will say, you will notice that you have things to challenge, things to adjust, and then you will think, am I getting ready to have the salary or the compensation that I've defined for this position? It's very important. Everything is possible. By the time you have this review, very often, what it will triggers in your mind, it will triggers two things. It will triggers first the belief that this is a position you can get and you will get. It will trigger in your mind that this is something that is really achievable. And the second part, what it will trigger in you to take the right actions or to push or to amend the actions to get to there. So two things, it will create something in your mind, something that will help you first to believe. And the second thing is really beyond believing will be to take the right actions, and we'll come to the actions later. But first thing, you have to write and to review. Myself, I'm saying in the beginning, if it's not a burning vision in your heart, in your mind, like something, whenever you wake up, you think about it. Whenever you are working, you think about it. You have to read it almost every day. I would say go for every week, at least reading of this plan and telling yourself, I'll get there, I'll get there, I'll get there, I'll get there. And I will get this compensation, I get this earning. So for instance, myself, when I started, I think not started, but actually, was it like 13 to 14 years from now, I had a salary worth $1,000, like net salaries. Very interesting, very interesting. For what it was at those times, it was very cool. It was enabling me or allowing me to get, enabling me actually to get whatever I think was useful for me. But then this is not enough. I had to move for a $2,000 net salary, for a $2,000 net salary. And then in my following positions, this was the salary I defined. So going into the interviews and being recruited by the following employer, this is something that I clearly negotiated. But beyond the negotiation, I was ready and I had everything actually to claim and to ask and to request for it, which I got. So basically, there are principles that I give myself to some people I've worked with. Like when I move, I never move for less than a 67% increase. That's 2/3 increase of my current base. So if you take my base and then you yourself, you want to do the exercise from 14 years there to today, maybe you get an idea of where I'm today. But the principle, this is a principle of myself. But actually, the minimum principle I will give to you is like never move for less than 33%. Like that's 1/3. If you move for less than 1/3, then sorry, my perception, and this is not written anywhere, is that you are just losing time and maybe you're not doing the right move. Right move maybe for the career path, but yet then you have to negotiate for at least 33% more. That's 1/3 more. And I'm relying on you to do this. So the first principle is really to set the vision where you want to get in 10 years. And if you are ambitious and visionary enough, you can go to 15 years, 20 years, and 30 years, 30 years ahead. What I'm generally giving as an advice is that you shouldn't just think about short term. If you want to go far, like at your burial, what do you want people to think or to remind, or to remember about you? What do you want people to remember about you? What do you want people to say that you have achieved? This is very, very important. If you are really clear on this, what you want people to tell about you, what you want people to really mention about you, then you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. It might not be a career path. Maybe you want to get into personal business, entrepreneurship, yes. But you have to define, and then to define a clear plan to get there, to get to this. This is what I mean. But when you have defined then this vision, you have to define intermediary steps. Now we are going to see in some details from this step, what will be next and how we get there. I will define the steps. I will define even the salaries of the steps, or let me say the general compensation or income on these different steps. Are you there with me? Are you following me? Can you hear me well? Are you with me this evening? Are you hearing me from where you are? Are you still here with me? Just to be sure that we are together, right? Okay, who is here with me? Who is confirming me his presence? Okay, I have Maiga that is here with me. Hope for the others you don't have much delays, but you are actually able to see where we are. Okay, so we carry on. And thank you again to be attending this. And thank you again to also have shared with some people you think might be in need of it. Okay, so we carry on, right? A dream isn't enough. You have to put up a clear action plan. And this is what we're going to talk about now. And that will be the part of on the second principle, right? A dream isn't enough. You have to put up a clear action plan. So we are going to look at this should I say chart, or like let's say this illustration. Let's take the example of someone that is here and that has defined where they want to go. This is where I want to go. Actually, the best way to define the path is to question people. You have to go to mentors. You have to go to coaches. You have to go to people that have succeeded in the field where you are working, or that have achieved the goal that you want to achieve, that have reached the objective that you want to achieve. You have to go to these people and you have to simply ask them, what's the right way, what's the easiest or the smartest way to get to the level where you are today? What have you done? What are the mistakes you did and you are recommending me not to do, so that I can have quote unquote shortcuts actually to get where I want to go? It's very important to go to people that have already done the way, because you will not reinvent the wheel, as it is said generally. No need to reinvent the wheel. Go to these people that have already done, that have already created, they have already achieved the way. What have you done to get there? And then they will help you have a clear view, a clear vision on what are the steps, what are the mistakes that they did and that you have to avoid and this will help you to have a clear line. If you remember when we started, I said I had the opportunity to discuss with Stefan. And when you look at my career, actually, Stefan gave me 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, like a clear path to get to where I wanted to be. The years in red are the years that I actually spent. I actually spent 3 years in the first path, but for the second path, instead of 4 years, I spent 2 years. And I will tell you the secret of this, how to shortcut, like how to have shortcuts. The last one I did 3 years. For the fourth one, actually the point was to become a marketing director in a local company, but actually went far beyond this. I'm currently a marketing director in a multinational for like 14 countries, and this is really a wider stretch than what was even in the plan. But the thing is that there are secret, there are shortcuts to it, but the best way to get to there or to get to these shortcuts is actually to question people. When you question people, they will help you confirm the steps that you have to follow to get where you want to go. So the question would be, what should I build, or what to do to get to the destination? Very first question. They will help you put together a clear plan, a clear path, a clear way to get to your destination. And then there's this part that I always think and I always recommend that you have in mind. What I have in me, what I have in me is worth this amount today. This is what I'm earning. Then from this, I have to define the earnings along my way to get to where I want to go. And this is something that I'm really applying with a couple of people I'm coaching, and from every language. I'm coaching French speakers or English speakers, no matter where they're coming from. The thing is that the principles apply everywhere. By the time you define this plan, generally things will set apart with your own action plan being followed thoroughly. There will be setting clearly apart so that you can reach your target. So you define these steps, and this is what we will be seeing in more details. From my experience, everyone I've trained, they really took 2 years to change things in their life. So assuming we are 2023, the people attending this call in 2025, like in 2 years time from now, we should be now hearing a lot of testimonies from those that are in this call. Like, yes, I attended this call, Wilfried challenged me, I've taken action, and things have really changed. So I'm inviting you really to pay attention to whatever we are going to discuss again in the following. So in fact, the life will give you what you're worth. Like, see this picture. What you have in mind, let me put in mind, just this is the better illustration I could get for this code. What you have in mind is what people are going to pay for. What you have in your brain, what you have in your, it's basically your knowledge, what you are skilled for. This is what people are going to pay for, because this is what they value. Be it a company, be it an NGO, be it the government, be it wherever, whenever, or wherever, they are going to pay what you're worth. Actually, they are not the ones paying you. This is life paying you. This is life giving you back what you're worth. So if you want to get more, in fact, you have to build yourself. You have to build what you have in yourself. You just obtain the equivalent of what you develop in yourself, right? So very importantly is like, what's the question you have to ask in yourself? What do I have to build in myself so that the value I'm getting from the life I'm getting, or the compensation I'm getting from my employer, I'm getting from the organization becomes more? Is really to think about what you put in your mind. Another principle that I want to share, that maybe I didn't have time to share with the people attending to the French section, is that there are principles. I'll talk about them. Like, if you check my experience, you'll see that it's been a lot of different companies. There's a reason to it. So if I take the example in 2013, like when I was working Nestle was actually my dream company from school. From university, this is where I was dreaming to work. And then I was thinking that I would have never left Nestle. But guess what? I had reached the 3 years time as a brand manager assistant. The things were clear. The next step was to become a brand manager. And Nestle wasn't giving me the opportunity of this. So I have this theory of, like, I'm calling it the ripe mango theory, right? Ripe mango theory. It means when you're ripe, if people internally where you are working are not able to pull you or to push you to the next position, I want to come on the screen to say this. When they're not able to push you to the next position because you are ripe for the next position, what is happening is that sometimes someone from external or like another company or organization is going to come and check mangoes on the tree. When mangoes are ripe on the tree, they never stay on the tree, right? Either the kids around the tree are going to take the mango, or either the mango is going to fall by itself, right? So that's the same way it works for profile, because life is fair, God is fair. By the time you are ripe, like you have really built yourself, if internally something is not happening, then externally something is going to happen. So I'm saying, and sorry for my HR people in the call, I don't want to shock you, right? But the thing is that when someone is ripe, give them the opportunity to go up. If you don't give, someone from external is going to pick them, and this was going to happen. Please refuse to spend 10 years in the position. Refuse to spend 7, 8 years in the position. Or if you are doing so, it means then you have not taken time yourself enough to build. You have not taken time to build yourself enough. And this is why you are lagging at the same position. Normally, when you arrive, things will happen. If they are not happening internally, they will happen externally. And this is what I'm showing by my profile. If you arrive, then you have to move. And life is going to set in front of you opportunities. I think there's a good question from Asia that is saying, but sometimes some companies have a budget for a position, even if you want what you are worth, but God will. Interesting. I have my own position to this. I refuse a budget that's not worth what I want. And it's a good point. So when I'm doing this questioning, what I do is that when I'm questioning people, I'm questioning them about the different steps to get to where I want to go, but I also question them about the salary or the compensation that's generally given at each of the steps. And then I can set my own plan, and then the compensation also I want at these different steps. But generally what I do, I always set myself beyond what is the average that is given at the position, because I work to bring more value to myself. So I sell myself, quote unquote, at a more expensive cost. Allow me to use this word. So this is how you have to work about it. So it's very important to think about growing yourself, about building yourself, building the value in you. Now, what do you put in you? How to increase your value? This is the next question. The straight answer to this is like you have to master your job. If this job is on the path of your dream, because sometimes the job you are doing now may be, or the position you have now is not on the path of your dream. I will talk about it. But if it is on the path to, or on the way to your dream, you have to master your job. And today we have many tools to master our job. Like internet is giving us access to the knowledge, to whatever science we want. Please learn new things. You can read, you can use YouTube, you can go to some coaches or mentors that are out there that are giving for free courses, classes, or whatever for you actually to be able to learn these things. So you have to go, you have to reach these people, and you have to really work with them. You have to make new diplomas. Diplomas are not compulsory, right? But if you have the opportunity to do them, if you are able to pay for them, please go for new diplomas. Around diplomas, degrees, masters, PhDs, MBAs, and all this. Not compulsory, but it's very important. If you have the possibility to do them, it would be very interesting that you can also go for them, right? And if your current job doesn't suit you, you have to leave it. Actually, you have to build a plan to leave it, and to go to some jobs, some positions, some careers, or let me say some positions that are on the way to where you want to go. There is a transition management. This is not the purpose of this code. You have to manage reconversion, or you leave like a way to go to another way. It's not the absolute discussion in this code, but it's very important that I mention this also. As I was saying before I move ahead, I might not be seeing all the questions or comments in all the platforms. The tool I'm using, unfortunately, is set like this. I can mainly see the comments on the Facebook page or the LinkedIn page also. So sorry if I miss your comments. If I miss, then try to come to the LinkedIn or write to me later if any case you are missing something, right? So we carry on with what is coming, what's next. The work itself is a grace from God. Not doing your job well is doing harm against yourself and against God. It's very important. And you have to be, and this is the second point really, you have to be excellent. Excellence is a choice. You have the choice to become excellent. And we will see with the next point that I'm addressing what you need to do to get there. So if you allow me, I'm sharing this. Now we come back to our Excel template, right? You have defined where you want to get in the following years. We come here for a friend that said, okay, let me become in 5 years time. That's 2028. I want to become a marketing manager with $4,000 like as net income. So you will define for the year one, because to get there, you have all this time. Let me reduce a bit, zoom out. So from year one to year 5, if I take this, you have all this time to build yourself. All right, like this, build yourself for the next position. You have the time to build yourself for the next position. You have to define an action plan. How do you build yourself? And there's a clear theory that's called in human resources development 7-20-10. I don't know if you've ever read about it, meaning that, and I write down before, this one is on the job. That's how you build yourself. There's 70% on the job. There's 20% actually coming from coaching. And I will explain all these parts. And there's 10% coming from formal courses. And this is generally a structure that multinationals are using to help people internally to define the development plans. I'm saying people, okay, so I have a question that I will answer to it later. Let me focus on this part, on the job. So build yourself for the next position. So on the job means what? It means your daily job is actually the best way to help you to build to build the steps to the next level. And that's how you should take it. On the job is like wherever you are doing, whatever you are doing, you have the opportunity to learn new skills, to develop new competencies that are going to help you to get closer to where you want to go. So on the job, I'll take the example of myself when I was a brand manager in Unilever, and I was getting ready to become a category manager. I had this discussion with my line manager that was asking me if I was ready to actually hold a category manager position, and I told him that I was still thinking that I had to work on something, because the principle for me was to master all the P's in marketing. But at this time, I realized that I wasn't really mastering the P about the product. That's really around innovation. So I told him, like, give me just 6 months to work on the innovation part to be able to master it. And from that discussion, what I started to do is really I took the leadership on all the innovations that were coming. I thought to my intermediate line manager, I want to work on innovations. I put a focus to learn, like every day it became a part of my focus. And then after 6 months, I was ready for the job. Guess what? There was something very interesting. As the job announcement was released on LinkedIn later, and I was frustrated. Like I said, I was ready. I wanted to beat myself to be ready for the job. How come now you guys are announcing it out on LinkedIn, and you are not considering my application? So my friend told me, you know what? Instead of being frustrated, just go to your boss. I went to him and I was like, I told you 6 months ago that I would have been ready for this position. I've seen that you are broadcasting the job vacancy outside on LinkedIn, but I think I can do it. I need you I want to apply for it, and I think I can do it. He told me, are you serious? I said, yes. And he was like, okay, fair. Let me think about it, and I'll be coming back to you on the following week. Then he came back to me like, he told me like, okay, I've thought about it. It's true now. I think you are ready for the position. So what we are going to do is that because you will be the youngest manager in the team. I think at those times I was less than 30 years old, and it was like the average age is 37 years old, and you are too young to become a manager. But we'll create an intermediate position I will call junior manager. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. And we started. And when we started, it was interesting as people was taking this junior category manager to call me like junior. They gave me a nickname actually from this position. And I was a bit like, okay, I'm doing the job, right? I don't know why I'm being called junior manager, why others are calling manager. I went back to my boss and I was like, we have to change things. How many months do you want me to prove to yourself that I can be a full-time manager? He told me like, we have 6 months. And I was like, no, I'm giving you 3 months to prove to you that this junior name, you can erase it confidently, that no one will complain. And I really worked around that. So on the job, I was just using this illustration to talk about the fact to bid yourself on the job. So using the job opportunity to take the lead, work on projects that are stretching yourself. Don't accept the things that you have always done. Work on things that you are afraid of, things that are like dark to you, things that you don't understand. Go stretch yourself, and by the time you stretch yourself, then you are opening up to acquire new competencies. You are acquiring new things. So for me, whenever I see a field, or let me say a sub field in whatever I'm working, in the field in which I'm working, that I don't master, I don't try to avoid it. You see, in marketing today, we are talking marketing. Maybe some people are marketeers here. When we talk about digital marketing, some people are like, this one is for agencies. They are for digital marketing agencies. I don't want to get into it. They don't try to understand what is pixels, what is doing YouTube ad, Google ads, what is search engine optimization. All these things I've done it by myself. For example, like how do we create a website? I've learned it by myself. This kind of stuff. So I want to get into the details, and by the time I understand, I'm like, okay, fine and fair. I'm ready for the next position. So you take time to build yourself on the job. So going to the job, go into these areas that you're not comfortable with in your job. Ask your boss, ask your line managers, I want to work on X, I want to work on Y, I want to work on Z, because this is what is going to pay me. The 20% is on the coaching. It's like whatever your line manager or managers are going to bring to you from the experience. Have time in a week to have this interaction, at least 30 minutes to 1 hour with your line manager, asking questions, asking him to help you on this or that topic so that you can actually stretch a bit. It's very important that you get coaching from your line manager or someone at this level that is able to share with you the knowledge about the job. And then take 10% of your time to do formal courses. In formal courses, I'll put books reading, not only books reading, but also formal classes you can have from internet, you can have from formal universities. These are things that you can do actually to stretch yourself. So you have to define it. For example, let's go to a plan. So we move from the general planning to what I call the action plan. You define your action plan for the first year. This is, you define for the hard skills, what you need to learn. This one on the screen, I'm coming to it, is an example of someone that was planning to become a marketing manager, marketing director. For them, it was like, in terms of hard skills, they needed to work on partners management and then marketing digital. This is actually someone I was coaching. It was like, okay, this is something I'm not really good at. This is what I'm going to do. This is where I want to build myself. And the person was like, let me set some actions, clear actions I will be doing the year. And the person said, okay, I'll go for the 10%. I'll go for formal training about partners management. So going to two books about partners management. And another action was actually, in terms of partners management, was to have distributors consistent visit and engagements, like once a month, actually to be able to build on the partner management. this person has defined over actions for the marketing, for the digital marketing. We come to it. Then on top of hard skills, there's what we call today like soft skills that you need to do. Today, it's not all about knowledge. I know my job. I'm a technician. I know everything about technical. I know everything about electricity. I know everything about marketing. You have to build these soft skills. You know, all these soft skills about time management, leadership, organization, agility. They're actually, people are putting them in like 12 to 15 soft skills, and are skills that we are going to address in the following weeks with you, if you are continuing to follow us, of course. And these skills, actually, you have to build yourself in terms of soft skills. So this guy was like, I have to read these 48 laws of power. I have to master them. I have to manage my vertical relationships, and then to manage my horizontal relationships. So these are the set of actions that we defined with that person. And the person defined that they needed over skills that was about general knowledge, mainly following use, and so on. So you have to define from your plan, from your vision, and then from the different steps here to reach the first steps. You have to define your plan for year one. Start from year one. You don't need to define for year 2, year 3, year 4. So we're in 2023. Define your plan from now on, like from October now to end of December 2024. What will you be doing actually to increase your value? This is very important that you work and you think about it. Actually, I want to ask, maybe I'm going too fast. If you feel I'm going fast, it's good that you stop me. If you're not clear on something, you tell me. If you have questions, it's good that you mention them. I think I have a question here. I will take time. How do you coach someone for a good career? Where are your coaching offers? Yes, my coaching offers are available. But I'm generally giving the first coaching session for free. And then from this, I will define paths. There's actually a cost, but I don't want to talk about the cost today. I'll just give you my link. I'll give you my link for the coaching. There are some slots. You can just take the slots if you want me to coach you. At least the first discussion is free. You can join it, and then later on we'll be talking about what you want. If you want personal coaching, I'm putting the link here. So here it is on the screen. You can come to it. The first session is free. It's a 45-minute session. You come and we talk about your career. I'll give you ways. Now, if after this you want to carry on with me, you just reach out to me, and then we'll define a plan. We define payment terms, and that is it. But for the moment, you can enjoy for free sessions. Please, the agenda is just one slot. I'm dedicating one slot per day to one person. So check the slot you want. The agenda might be full. Get into it and try to book your slot. It's flexible. If I'm not able to do it on that day, I will change. Thank you for this question. So we are moving on because time is close. So by the time you define your plan, you move to what I'm calling a detailed monthly plan. So detailed monthly plan is what? Is what you have on screen. So for this person with whom I worked about this hard skills acquisition, that person was like, let me read a book by in April, in May. Let me read a second book, third book, fourth book, and like 6 books till the end of year on partners management. On digital, the person was setting a path to have like 4 more courses in April, June, and till, for example, December. In terms of soft skills, the person decided to go into audiobooks, and then to have also catch up with senior leaders, to have some stretch from them, and to do some networking. And over actions, the person has defined plan, pay months. This is what you have to do, actually, if you want to clearly put it in action. And the last part I want to complete with on this section is that from this, because there's still monthly plan, it can be like too wide. You have to define what I'm calling your daily plan. And this one, I've removed some of them. This is my personal, but I've removed some of the things I'm doing. The color coding is for the kind of same actions I'm doing. I generally wake up at 4 a.m. So from 4 a.m., I'm actually starting my day to like 7 a.m. So I have slots of 30 minutes where I'm doing different things. What I'm calling here the personal audit, and I want to just emphasize on it. The personal audits are generally times that I take to look at this plan, the whole plan. am I following my plan? I'm playing piano, so you have the piano here, and you have other stuff that I've removed. In Ping, I have some time that I'm trying to dedicate to my family, for example. But I will come back to this. But the thing is that by the time you have defined your monthly plan, please, to make it actionable, you have to define a weekly routine that you are going to follow. For example, if you say you are going to read a book, you have to define in your plan. So let me go to this. You have to define, for example, if I say I will put book reading here, for example, from 5 a.m. This is an example. From 5 a.m. to like 6 a.m., I'll just put book reading. Then I know that from Monday to Friday, I'll be doing book reading, for example. And then if I've defined that, let's say an example, in terms of daily, what's happening, I'm taking a digital course. I can say, okay, I'm taking a digital course. Let me put my digital course here. Digital course on Monday, maybe here. That's the way it is. So by the time you're able to define a weekly and daily routine, then you are actionating your plan towards its realization. Fine. I hope, guys, you are still with me as we are completing with the last set of principles. On the screen now, this is an example I was doing with a salesman, like really a salesman that wanted to become a businessman. So we're defining like ways how to grow. And I believe from the example I've given, this is something that you can build. You have to build these plans. Actually, to be able to move to your next steps in your career, in your life. We'll come to this. The third one on which I'm going to close is actually you have to play the corporate game. Corporates, living corporate or living in an organization is actually coming with a lot of challenges. I'm calling it the corporate game, but you will understand later. I've been the following slides what I'm calling the game. Basically, it's a game. It's a game, and you have to play the game. There are ways to behave, there are ways to act, there are ways to work, there are ways to appear, there are ways to show off or not to show off in companies. And this is very important that you also look at this aspect of things. And I'm showing like some principles that I've used like maybe fancy names or names on my own, like I want to name them this way, so that maybe you get them in mind. I'm showing today 3 principles under this heart of like principle that I'm talking about, the corporate game. One of these first principle I'm calling the principle of drumming. I'm saying you have to make noise, you have to build your visibility. I think when I say make noise, it's very interesting today. I think everyone has seen, not to come back to some latest political situations. Yeah, but it's not the same noise, but you have to make noise. Let's talk about this interesting noise, right? Are you there? Are you still with me? Are you following me? Who is with me? Okay, I see how that's saying make noise. Yeah, you have to make noise. This is the first thing when we talk about make noise. But which kind of noise we talk about it? Yeah, fair. Let's go to it. Okay, coming to this, the noise we are talking about. The principle of drumming is that you have to show your great work internally. You know, whatever you do, you have to ensure that people know that you are doing it. Some people are like too humble to like not to show off. They don't talk about what they are doing. You have to tell people, this is what I'm doing and I've done this. The kind of things that are going to give you promotions in your work is that you've built your career, you've built your value, but then when you're executing great job, then you are talking about it. You are advertising it, actually. It's very important. You can leverage WhatsApp groups, internal communication tools like internal emails, internal workplace, or I don't know, whatever groups you have internally. You can leverage some employees' activities actually to take the opportunity to talk about some achievements, but then you have to show the great work you are doing. Doing so, I'm doing the second principle. You have to take into account your leader's style. What is happening is that if your leader is the kind of person that want himself or herself to be the one people are talking about, if you get people to talk too much about you, then you'll be in troubles. So you have to be sure to know your leader. Even if your leader is a good person, but the person wants you to talk about them, like to give them quote unquote the glory, to tell that they have done the thing. You can still be smart, showing your work by telling that this would have never happened without the support, without the blessing, without everything your leaders have done. So that at the same moment you are putting, you are beating, or you are drumming up, you're also drumming up for you. You are drumming up for your boss. This is very important. This is the first principle. You have to talk about what you are doing. The second principle I'm calling the principle of the lion, the lemon, or the hyena. I like this picture. I don't know if you have ever seen it. And my question here is like, who do you look like? Check the look of the CEO, check the look of the managing director, check the look, check the eyes of the functional director. Look at the assistant. She is lost or is lost. Look at the random employee tired. Look at the intern. And the principle here is that you have to be smart. You have to be clever. You have to play the power game. You know what is happening in companies and corporate? People are really chopping each other. You ensure you are not naive. Ensure you are not just working, not minding the political influence in the organization where you are working. A lot of things are happening. Some writers were saying there is this formal chart in any business, formal structure, but there's also this informal chart, the actual chart of influence. Who is talking with whom? Sometimes the security guy or the security guard just at the entrance is the most influential person in the company, because that person is talking directly to the CEO or to the founder of the company. This person should be your ally, for example. There are things you shouldn't say in meetings. There are things you shouldn't say loudly. There are some, if you don't get into criticism, if you are getting to this, please be sure who you are criticizing other person with. You have to play the power game. You have to be cautious. There are books that I will recommend at the end of this that will talk extensively about this part. But what I mean by this one, sometimes you need to be lion. Sometimes you need to be lamb. Sometimes you need to be hyena. You have to be the bad person. I don't like the hyena personally, but sometimes you have to play the whole game. So be clear that you cannot just be a lamb. If I go back to this, you can be a simple employee, but you need to have this cleverness, this smartness of the managing director. If you look at the eyes, you clearly see what I mean. Don't just be naive. Don't just be lost. Please understand what is happening around you. Try to understand these influences happening in the background that you will have to leverage, because this is a corporate game. This is a game at the end of the day. And this is what I want to recommend. I'll put the French names of these ones they exist in English. If you have never seen them, this one is quite clear by itself. It is from Robert Greene, It's Power. It's called the 48 Laws of Power. It's interesting if you can get this book and read more about it. Then you have John Maxwell about the 21 Laws of Leadership that you should get, and then Emotional Intelligence for Daniel Goleman. There are really great books that will help you to be this lion whenever it's needed, or to be this lamb or this hyena when it's needed. So if you want to go to an end, if I can put, like, I'll call it a shortcut to all this, or what you have to do next, and what could be a summary on this one. If you want to understand how to be, let me say, a lamb or a lion, how to do this. If you don't read all these books, the simple shortcut to this is the following. First thing, you have to ensure in whatever interactions you're having with people internally, you have to ensure and to think about what you want to achieve as a goal when interacting with people. On the second point, you have to think, how will the person to whom you are going to send your message, or you are going to show an action, how will the person to whom I'm going to send my message or my action take what I'm going to do or say? It's very important that you anticipate on people's reaction. like what they are going to think about what you are going to do or say. And in the interaction, you should think about the fact that you should think about if it is the right way to achieve your goal. And the last one is, what will the person or others will know about me remember? What are going what are going to remember, or what are people going to remember about this action or this thing that you are going to do? Is this the image I want to send back? You really have to think about any actions that you are taking or undertaking, right? By the time you have these 4 questions in mind, you can be sure that you are doing, anytime you are thinking about them, you are taking the right decision on if you want to be the lamb, the lion, or the hyena, right? Okay. So we're going to the end with the last principle. That's the principle of efficiency. Efficiency is the one you have to really work around. You cannot just be like everyone. You really have to manage your time to be excellent and really well disciplined. The cheetah principle is about time management. By the time I have something, I go straight to it. And there are plenty ways and plenty laws of time management on which we will come in following webinars. But just to mention, you really have to manage your organization, manage your emails. You have to automate. Today, there are many ways, many tools, many softwares that help you to manage your time. If you're asked to do a job in 2 days and within 2 days and you're able to complete in 1 day, then this is a kind of efficiency, for example, that people are looking for. You really have to learn how to be efficient, how to do the most out of your time. So you really have to learn how to manage this. And this will be the opportunity to talk in a different forum about all this. So 3 principles to absolutely know and implement to boost your career. We've talked about them today. So if we want to sum up to go to an end to this, right? If you can remember all these principles that are quite straightforward but very important. You have to set your vision. You have to ensure that you are disciplined and you are building excellence while building value in you. And you have to play the corporate game. This is where I want to end for today. It's almost time for what we had scheduled. And if you have any question, any comments, please feel free to ask so that I can maybe give feedback, an answer.
Do you want to send it or change it?
Yeah, and please feel free to share. I think on the other fronts, people are sending questions. I will try to check what is happening there. Okay. Any question, any comment, any feedback? If not, we'll call it a day, actually an evening. And I will thank you to have attended this session. If you think it has been useful to you, feel free to share it with other people that it can help, and that will be great. Okay, I have the feedback from Joseph. Joseph, hi, good to have seen you and to see you and to see that you have attended this call. Thank you, Joseph. Okay, I'm checking the other comments because last time I missed a lot of them because they were on other platforms. Checking who is here, any feedback, any question. Checking. All right. Thank you, Asia. Very good session. Thanks a lot. Stay always blessed, mentor. Okay, thank you, Asia. Thank you. All right. I'm not seeing any question coming. Maybe they will come because I think there's a delay in this conversation. But this was my pleasure to share with you. Going forward, I will have other sessions on career, on life. I will always try to have also a session for English speaker because it has been a request from people I've worked with or that I have met when I was in Ghana and Nigeria, for example. So I will still have the opportunity to share things in English for them, for my Francophone fellow followers, or for my fellow Francophone followers. Yes, we'll be together. So soon, there is more to come in marketing, in personal development, in leadership, in soft skills development. So yeah, stay connected. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Have a great evening, everyone. And meet you, see you soon, talk to you soon. God bless you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.